Hello there, my name is Tom Scrallo and welcome to my YouTube channel where we talk all things trading, finances and money in general. Now in this video, I really wanted to do a really short video on my view on Bitcoin, and everybody is going crazy about it, saying that, it is over, it is done, it is finished, everything is so bad, we're entering the bull market and the crypto winter and everything is looking super mega terrible. So I just decided to do a super quick video here in TradingView and just to show you what I'm thinking about this. And there certainly are things to worry about when it comes to the technical analysis of Bitcoin. And let's just jump right into it. And before we do, remember that Crollo Trading Show is about to launch. I mean, the registration process has already launched. And if you want to be one of the 5 lucky winners who's going to win a fully paid trip to Dubai, so hotel and also your complete trips, meaning your plane ticket and me picking you up from the airport in my gold Rolls Royce or a G-Wagon or both, and then joining me at my famous trading floor. And if you haven't seen one of those videos, it's me preparing the trading floor here in Dubai. Check it out. And so yeah, if you want to join us here for 2 weeks in February, and if you want to win one of those seats, link down in the description. Just go to CrolloTradingShow.com and register your participation. It's absolutely free, no strings attached, no credit card required, nothing of the sort. So if you want to come to Dubai for free and enjoy Dubai for 2 weeks and all expenses paid by me, and also enjoy my exotic cars and restaurants, beach clubs, helicopters, yachts, everything, it's gonna be epic, really. Then go down to the description and click on CrolloTradingShow.com and register your participation. Right, let's get right into Bitcoin. So as we all know, a lot of the tokens and overall the crypto market is following Bitcoin, and they're still quite attached. So a lot of people are looking at Bitcoin, just like when you're trading stocks actively, you're oftentimes looking at S&P 500 to understand the general tendency of the market, and is it trending, is it uptrend, downtrend, etc., to understand the overall tendency of the market as a whole. So S&P 500 is really good to look at in general, and the same thing goes for cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is giving that direction overall, not always obviously, but overall. So everybody's looking and super worried about Bitcoin, and me personally, I'm a bit worried about it, and it's not that terrible yet. I'm going to show you exactly what I see in the charts right now and what other traders are seeing, but unfortunately it might turn quite bad. So watch this video till the end. And I don't own any Bitcoin at the moment. I have a trade open in it, just a futures short-term swing trade kind of a thing, but nothing more than that. And also I have a big altcoin portfolio, and you can check out one of my older videos where I was trading live, buying into different altcoins and showing the price points at which I was buying into those. And I still have that portfolio. It's quite big, and quite honestly, I mean, it's not in millions of dollars, it's in hundreds of thousands, but nonetheless it's pretty big for me. And it was in a very good profit at some point before this whole correction started happening here, and also here a bit. But the biggest upsetting factor was this part here, which everybody expected some kind of a correction. Cannot just increase in price infinitely, but nonetheless. So that's why I'm always watching Bitcoin to understand where it's going, what's going on with it, so that I understand what I can expect in my altcoin portfolio. Because some altcoins ignore Bitcoin and keep increasing in price regardless. Like for example, one of the coins that I have is Cosmos, or Atom. So it's one of those coins that is not really following Bitcoin too much, but it still is. But if you, for example, compare it to Dogecoin, then that's a very different scenario. And for each for each percent that Bitcoin drops, Dogecoin suffers a lot. But nonetheless, so anyway, let's get right into the topic of what I see here, and I'll just tell you in general what other traders are seeing here and why everybody is so freaking pissed about it. Everybody expected Bitcoin to be at $100,000 by the end of the year, myself including. But it is what it is. So I guess we just underestimated the power of the Federal Reserve, the banks, etc. So, but I personally think, well, let's get into my prediction a bit later on. So yes, we were all wrong about Bitcoin being at $100,000 by the end of 2021, but here we are. So everybody saw this pattern right here, a falling wedge, or a squeezing flag, however you want to call it, right here in June, and then it broke out of the flag, and that was the beginning of the uptrend here. then this was the top. Let me just mark it. So this was the previous top right here, and we had a very nice, as people call it, the falling wedge. I don't really like falling wedges that very much, but nonetheless they are pretty good for just illustrating what's going on and having them as an example, and following the tendency, so to speak. So after this falling wedge, after we broke out of it, right in this area, there was a parabolic growth to an all-time high, which is the new, basically new top. And then we saw another correction, which, by the way, did not go below this area right here, which is previous bottom. And right now we are in this area right here, which is of the most interest, because everybody right now, it's the big time for Bitcoin, and it is quite a challenging time, especially because of what's going on right here. So if we look at it, obviously, if you're into trading a little bit, then you already know exactly what I'm going to talk about. Everybody saw, okay, here is the falling wedge or falling squeezing flag, explosion, squeezing falling wedge, breakout, explosion. And look at this. Here is another falling wedge that everybody was so counting on. They were counting that the history is going to repeat itself like it has repeated itself many, many times before, which I will have to agree with. And so basically a lot of traders have traded this breakout right here. And the question is, you know, can you really blame them? And the answer is no, because I mean, the traders who are trading technically and using technical analysis, that's all that they can do. So basically this is a very nice breakout, and there was no clear retest. You can barely call this a retest here, but nonetheless it exploded to about 52,000. And if you do all these measurements of, you know, how wide that wedge was, then you can pretty much calculate how far, where could be your take profit, which would be around 52,000. So okay, if that was your expectation, good for you. But now this here is what everybody is so worried about. Everybody, because look at this area right here, which was just a parabolic climb up after this break right here. But it's not happening. As we can see, it's just moving downwards. And this is a very sad situation. As we can see, it also formed some kind of a resistance, a support level first, but now it has gone into resistance. And this one is a very unclear diagonal support or resistance line, which is very hard to use. But right now, when the price is consolidating a little bit, then it starts to look much better and exactly portrays the current situation. So is it really, as everything as I see it right now, is it really the end of Bitcoin, and is it the beginning of the huge bear market? And the answer is not really. Certainly this is a very first warning sign of the fact that there might be some loss in volume and power in general, and there is no such momentum as we had here. So this is very worrying. But is it really the end of it? I mean, no. And those people who are screaming and running around saying, oh my God, this is so terrible, blah, 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 it's nothing. I mean, it's a worrying sign for sure, but I wouldn't necessarily say that this is the end of Bitcoin, right? So how do I view this situation? As you can see, we are starting to squeeze this level right here quite tightly, by the way, and a lot of traders are trading this level right here. And by the way, if you want proper trading education on how to mark proper levels and how to keep your risk and money management straight, and how to keep yourself under control in terms of trading psychology, because a lot of people don't understand that trading psychology is probably more important than technical fundamental analysis. So then in that case, there is a link to my trading education, one of my famous trading learning programs, and it's going to be worth your while as well as money. So nonetheless, here as we can see, we are trying, the price is really trying to break this level right here, but so far it retested it here. Again, there was a break, there was a retest, but the price didn't hold, sadly, just a few dollars higher than this peak price right here. So, and then a huge sell-off happened, and now the price is basically deciding on where does it want to go. Now, there are two options, obviously. Option number one is that we're gonna squeeze it, and then we're gonna finally break it, maybe retest it, and finally go much higher. And in that case, this is going to be a very good scenario. We're going to finally break out of this area right here and finally move into the profit zone, so to speak. And then perhaps we're going to see another retest of an all-time high and hopefully go to the promised $100,000. But again, as we can see, the price is quite reluctant to break this level, so it is quite challenging for the price to do anything and to really commit to it. And so it is quite challenging. But then the next scenario, which in my I don't really want to give any predictions in terms of what exactly is going to happen, because I don't want people to use this as an advice to invest or trade or whatever and then blame me for it later on. But I personally think that there isn't really well, I'll get into that shortly. So what else can we see in this chart right here? So let's just mark this as option number 1, and let's just take a horizontal line here and mark a very important level, which is around here, so around $46,000, around this area. So as you can see, again, it's forming a falling wedge or squeezing flag in general. And the thing is, now, when is it gonna start looking really bad, like really bad? And again, in terms of technical analysis, and that is gonna be when the price, let me just take this, so if the price comes back to it and retests it, and maybe we're gonna see something like this, well, that would be a very sad day for Bitcoiners, especially if the price is gonna come back to it, retest it, and then go lower. This is gonna be a really, really sad situation for Bitcoin. And to be honest, at this point, both situations are very, very likely. And again, let's take a look what, and this, when this happens, I could say, yeah, this is pretty bad. This is gonna be the second worrying sign that is gonna be much more worrying than this sign right here. So here, I would start considering, changing something up in my portfolio, perhaps, or at least, hedging it. Now, let's take a look at another chart that I've prepared right here. And this is basically the daily chart where I want to show you the points of no return, so to speak. And also here we have this average, this volume profile, and we can also see that we are stuck in the biggest part of where the biggest volume was. So the price, again, as I said, is deciding of where to go. And basically, what I think is going to happen, that if we see the break of this level, which, as I said, would be a very bad sign, then in that case, the next one, and which would be the confirmation of a really bad case scenario and perhaps the beginning of the crypto winter, would be the break of this level right here, which is again a psychological level, which is $40,000 basically. So $40,000, and it's also going to be the previous bottom, as I've mentioned before. The previous bottom, and we were hoping that this is the next bottom and for it to go upwards. But since it might change its mind here and go down, once it breaks the level here, which is $40,000, and also the previous bottom, this is a really bad scenario. And this is where a lot of people will be selling, and this might also trigger a big sell-off if this level breaks as well. And we're going to enter this area of big volume right here, which was again in the summer, basically after this big sell-off, after the China started banning Bitcoin in general and crypto. So, and this is where it consolidated, also this nice flag, and took off from there. But again, this is a very likely scenario that we're going to go down to it, and if there's going to be a big sell-off, then we'll probably consolidate somewhere in this area of around $30,000 as being the absolute minimum and the support level, a very strong support level, and also this area of big volume right here. But if this one is broken, well, I mean, that's going to be 100% crypto winter. And then the next one is going to be somewhere in this area. Again, this is the area of previous all-time high, which is back somewhere right here. So that would look really sad. I mean, really sad. But in general, as we have this right now, I wouldn't really say, oh my God, one of my levels disappeared, but nevertheless. Now let's go to the 4-hour chart. No, wait. Let's go to this chart and make it big. So yeah, basically this is the current situation, and we are waiting for what's gonna happen. So watch Bitcoin in the next few days or maybe even hours. What it's gonna decide to do in the next whatever amount of hours or days is probably gonna showcase the future of Bitcoin in a short-term perspective for sure. So yeah, that's basically it. These are my very basic thoughts without any incorporation of fundamental analysis, which is quite important as well. And this is just basically me looking at it for 5 minutes and saying exactly what I think of this, because I think right now this is a very important part, a very important time for Bitcoin in general, seeing these patterns that are forming and history repeating itself. And we know that history doesn't always repeat itself, so a lot of long traders might get liquidated in this area right here easily. So trade in a very smart way. And before you get into this stuff, I know it might seem quite simple, but trust me, get proper trading education first. All links in the description. And don't forget to sign up for the chance to win an amazing trip, to a 2-week trip to Dubai, all inclusive and all paid by me. And I'll be happy to see you in Dubai. Cheers, and I'll see you in the next video.